Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So we have an earthquake hitting Japan. 7.1 is what it's currently being shown as. It's interesting in that some say there were twin earthquakes, 7.1 and 6.9, as you can see here. Absolutely a lot of shaking going on. Absolutely. And this is the location. This is in southern Japan. And, the fear is that this might not be over. This 7.1 may be a precursor to something larger, a megaquake coming. And we'll go into that a little bit more. Again, Japan is a beautiful series of islands. And again, Tokyo is one of the largest cities on the planet, and yet is absolutely earthquake prone. When you look at this, you could see how the plates come together. Yes, absolutely. Well, let's see if they're going to show faults. I think they only show faults on the U.S., unfortunately. But if you obviously can see here, this is right at the intersection of all these plates coming together. It is not a good situation, but they are prepared for it. So there's been some aftershocks. USGS is showing a 4.8, 4.6. CS-EM is showing one extra aftershock. Joni Petrie, she not only called this one, but from how she was feeling about it, and by the way, she used to predict quakes for Japan. This is part of what she used to do on a regular basis. And we follow Joni. She's probably one of the only people that we watch just about every video of. It's just sharing that with you. She has a lot of insight, and I think she was right on with this one. And so the question right now is, was this just a release, or is this something foreshadowing something bigger as we get videos coming in? It's gotta be something that you somewhat get used to. How do you get used to that type of shaking as you see this car shaking here? Look. You could see that whole house moving. They construct things to withstand this. This is in a mall, and everybody, Japanese people are curious people because they like to have fun on the whole. And like in this case here, you hear people even laughing. Laughing in the face of the whole building shaking shows that it's something that you're kind of used to.
Mm-hmm. I know, I'm watching these things, watching that house shake and watching the ground shake, and you can see the ground and its separation points. It's like it's all coming apart, kind of like a puzzle, and then coming back together, and it just really gives me the creeps. It's like, how can that not be like cracking all over the place? And I wonder how much more the poor ground in that building could take before it does start to crack. I guess Japan does have some things in place where when they're building stuff, they make it earthquake tolerant, I guess. I don't know, pretty crazy. And Joni called it again. I think she's very, very good. The only thing I see is I do see the controllers using these this ability to call earthquakes as a starting point to do more damage, like momentum, just like they use planets to, say, start a war. They might put all the pieces into place for something to happen, for just one little chip to fall, and then everything falls after that. So that's the other thing I see about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So active tsunami warning. In effect, there are some channels that have mixed in photos of the big one back in 2011. But, so far we don't have any damaging tsunami that we know of at this point. But this is perhaps bigger than the 7.1. The Meteorological Agency has issued an alert warning about a possible large earthquake around the Nankai Trough, which is the first ever such alert that they've issued following this one. And so this is really interesting. As you can see, this is the Nankai Trough over here. To the north east of the area of the quake right now, and this is how it works. And I was just staring at the map last night, looking at Bakersfield, and the swarm that was going on south of Bakersfield, just trying to feel into which way is this going to manifest in some sort of release over on California's side. And here, this is a megathrust earthquake zone, this underlying fault, the Nankai megathrust. And that's the type of quakes you don't want to be in the middle of. And what you have here is a subduction zone caused by the subduction of the Philippine Sea Plate beneath Japan, part of the Eurasian plate. This plate boundary is, right by an ocean trench. When we saw Fukushima happen, that was a reminder of just how big these events can be along these sections. And what we see happen in Japan is also a possibility over in the Cascadian area too. So, I remember, being pretty convinced we were going to see serious activity in April into May, and it didn't manifest, but it does feel that things perhaps were delayed, and that manifestation might be coming on down the line at this point in time, as the guides had said that my clock was short, meaning my timing was premature, but not that this wasn't going to be perhaps what's going on. And so there's a lot of activities that are taking place and preparations, because this would be something that would be catastrophic if you did have, again, obviously a quake the size of Fukushima. So they're slowing down trains purposely just in case. They're taking preparations just in case there is a bigger quake coming. And again, this is that Nankai Trough area. Let's pray that nothing the size of the 2011 quake happens. And, part of the biggest craziness is the fact that they didn't shut down all the nuclear power plants. And as we've said, and my personal feeling is absolutely, when you look at fracking, that has made the situation worse for quakes, like over in, say, Texas, when we're talking about Texas. And we saw some really odd swarms over in Texas and larger quakes in Texas than we normally would. I really do not believe we'd see that if it wasn't for the fracking. And then the swarm that we had going on over here is still here. At peak, I want to say I saw maybe 560-ish earthquakes in a 24-hour period. It's down to 329. When we look over to the area just south of Bakersfield at the moment, 153 of what is now 329 quakes that USGS is showing. Again, that USGS doesn't cover a lot of quakes, say, over in Europe, that CSEM will show. But we use them both. They both have their glitches. They both have their strong and weak points. As you can see here, the quakes happening over in Europe. I think the best thing is, again, to be as prepared for anything as possible. When I was looking at this and trying to feel what should we be worried about? Should we be concerned more for San Francisco or Los Angeles, or perhaps should we be more concerned with Cascadia? That was all magnitudes. Let's see. There's the significant. So I was looking at the significant ones, what they deem significant. And by the way, here, significant quake over here in Texas. Yeah, again, fracked like horribly. You had the 6.4 up here in Canada, a 6.2 mirroring it over here in Guatemala, and then we had a 5.7 down in Panama. Over here, this one initially I saw being reported. Doesn't want to click on it there. That's a 4.9. It's weird. It won't click on it for me. There we go. 5.2. I remember some sources saying that was a 5.6. And so it's interesting how they kind of mirror each other. So, again, it's just feeling into a situation. The lay of those significant ones might make me think, look for something more in the Baja area. But, again, anything could happen at any time. And then when we're also adding in the fact that there's technology in play, that definitely makes it tough to get down.
Well, it does. All we can really do is be prepared, have a bag ready, have your stuff ready, and, just kind of make it part of your daily practice sometimes, just making sure things are where they're supposed to be, and if you need to do anything, where stuff is at. One thing that I always kept in the back of my mind when I had a ready bag for myself and my family is always, if you have small children, make sure the clothes are updated, because those babies grow fast, and before you know it, they're all grown out of their clothes, and you have this go bag ready, and it's full of clothes that are too small. So go through those, check diapers, check this, check that, and just sort of have everything at the ready, prepared. And it's good to go through stuff that way, because then you know what you have, and maybe you updated something, maybe somebody was on some medicine and they're not, so you can take that out and put something else in. It's just a good way to keep inventory in general.
Absolutely. And by the way, these little red lines are the fault lines in the U.S., so you can see the West Coast has the most, and it's interesting to see the legends of that. What was it really that happened in around 1700 that gave us either a 9.0 quake, or was it something else, is the big question. So many ancient maps show California as an island prior to 1700. And then it's only after 1700 when we see maps showing it as part of the U.S. I think that is absolutely fascinating. We talked about this over on Patreon yesterday. So while Patreon doesn't have its own way of going live per se, it does have these debuts where we do the video and the video plays. We are there with everybody interacting and having a live chat as the video goes. It's interesting to note that there was yet another book that in 1981 came out with everything that happened in 2020, and the verbiage and the location, and it's just insane how the author was either extremely intuitive or maybe an insider that was aware of the bigger plan that was afoot.
Mm-hmm. I know. I really like the new Patreon drops. They're called drops, and we get to go in, we get to interact with you guys, and it's just a lot of fun. I think it does help people to get together, and it helps us too. It's like we engage a little bit more, which is nice. We need each other in these times. We need to have fun and not take stuff so seriously, and just help one another through it.
Yes, and we will be going live tonight, or this later on this afternoon, and we'll go live on Evolutionary, and we're shooting for 5 p.m. CST. That will be 6 p.m. EST, And that would be 3 o'clock over on the West Coast, in order to see if we could get the most people that will be able to partake as you look at this little baby, because it is a little baby, having fun and understanding exactly what Mama or Dada wants them to do and play along.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
Absolutely. Thanks for your support. We couldn't do it without you guys. Stay prepared, source bless, and namaste.
Namaste.